Welcome back. We're so thrilled that Nancy and I, for the first time on the show, we have a guest that we've wanted to have on for a long time.
A very long time.
Chantal Sicile-Kira. All right.
Did we get that right, Chantal?
Yes, you did.
Okay.
On the 13th try.
We spoke a little bit about you at the top of the show, that you are really a pioneer in this field of autism, as a parent, as an advocate. You're the award-winning author of 5 books. You've got 25 years experience as a parent and a professional, and you're known for your practical advice on autism. You're an international speaker, and one of your keynote is Love, Sex, God, and Autism, which I would love to hear sometime. Your area of expertise includes the effects of autism on family, adolescence, and transition to adulthood. You had actual practical experience, Chantal, with teaching functional living skills to severely developmentally disabled adolescents in preparation for their deinstitutionalization. That's a whole show in and of itself.
Yes.
And you have raised your own autistic and nonverbal son, Jeremy, in France, the UK, and the US. And welcome to the show, Chantal. And we're going to get into Jeremy in a minute.
For having me. I appreciate it.
We refer to, there are some moms that we refer to as being the autism super moms, that they're the ones that probably have capes somewhere hidden away in a drawer, and you're one of those moms that we think of that way. You're very well known in the autism community, so it's a thrill and a delight to have you here with us. And as you were saying, Jeremy is your son, and he was going to be with us, but unfortunately he was unable to be with us today.
A little under weather.
But yes, he is a brilliant artist.
His art is so fantastic.
And so, again, thrilled that you're here. First time being with us. So should we start talking about, you have 2 children, is that correct?
That's correct. So Jeremy's the oldest at 27, and Rebecca, my daughter, who's neurotypical, is 24, and she lives in Seattle.
Wonderful.
Tell us a little bit about Jeremy and when he was diagnosed and sort of the early years.
So, I had worked at a state hospital that you referred to introducing me when I lived in California. And I was also a case manager at a regional center of Orange County. And then I moved to Europe, and because my family's French and I wanted to get to know my relatives, and I ended up staying there a lot longer than I expected. And I had both my children over there. And I had recognized early on that Jeremy was not developing properly, but at that time, autism was considered a mental illness in France, and so I really couldn't get much help for him. And it took a really long time to get a diagnosis and to get help, because at the time, they only offered psychoanalysis, and unless you followed psychoanalysis with your child, you were not allowed to receive the other services of OT or speech, and he had no right to an education, which is why we subsequently left France.
And what year was that when he was diagnosed, Chantal?
So he was born in 1989. He was diagnosed in 91. Rebecca was born in 92. In 93, we moved to the UK, and in 96, we moved here to San Diego.
Because in a lot of ways, that's like the dark ages of autism.
Yes.
There weren't a lot of services anywhere, but certainly in France, which is still behind, I can't even imagine.
Yes. So in France, they did change the law, so now autism is considered a developmental disability, so they have a right to an education, so the law has changed. But just like when we first changed the laws here, it takes a while for them to come into effect, so many students are still having problems accessing an education, and they're still doing treatments in the hospitals that you don't even want to hear about.
In Europe, right?
And a lot of it has to do with money, because if the psychoanalyst and the medical ministry are in charge of autism, they have all those monies. And so if they then go in the educational system, they have to transfer all that money and power. So a lot of it, I think, has to do with that.
Well, we've done some shows about the state of things in France. It's horrifying.
And I can't imagine, though, the obstacles you faced in 3 different countries when Jeremy was young, and how you eventually got through on all of this.
And there wasn't even the internet as a presence back then. So what did you do?
Well, already I had my a little bit of training from when I had lived in the States, even though I had worked with adults and not with young children with autism. But I just knew that my idea was I wasn't expecting my son to become neurotypical or to become, a high school graduate. I just wanted him, I just thought everyone can reach their potential and everyone can learn something. And so that was my what kept me going. And I think actually the way that I was raised by my parents, who were French immigrants to the States, who had 6 kids and no family around, and then and they moved around, and so we were always the foreigners wherever we went. That kind of instilled in me maybe resilience that some people don't have. But when I think about it, which is why I did put on that show, Love, Sex, God, and Autism, which is now it's a keynote that I do at different places. It really talks about, how I got Jeremy where he is today. But, because I started thinking when I was speaking around the country at all these conferences with my practical talks, why is it that some families seem to be doing okay and strong despite the challenges, and then other people just seem totally depressed, wiped out? Because it isn't easy. It's true. It's not easy. And maybe I make it look too easy. But the point is that everyone accepts or deals with the situation in a different way. And
Yeah.
so, even now in adult services, it's not easy, but you kind of try and figure things out, and you have to decide what things you're going to worry about and what things you're going to let go of. And the things that are really important, then you're going to go ahead and do yourself.
Well,
Like with the whole job thing for Jeremy.
Yes, let's talk about some of the things that you were able to accomplish with Jeremy that has, been the reason why he is such a high functioning member of the community today, despite that he is nonverbal, correct?
Right. So Jeremy, really, his autism is really a lot of motor and sensory challenges. And so he could say with ABA, he learns like 100 words and he could talk, but if you asked him receptively to give you the right item that he obviously knew because he could say the word, he wouldn't give it to you. And it turned out that he had vision processing challenges as well. So over the years, I just realized that he did understand things because he was making connections, but he couldn't always show that to us. And when I was doing the research for my first book, Autism Spectrum Disorder, I met Soma, the mother of Tito, who was doing the rapid prompting method. And so I thought that looked like something that could work with my son. So I tried that with him. I brought him up to LA twice a month for a year and a half, and I would do 20 minutes a day at home. And I had run my own home program in the UK, 40 hours a week, doing 10 of them myself, with supervision from Lovas Center up in Scandinavia that was connected with the Lovas Center here in LA. And it helped a little bit, but, still Jeremy wasn't one of the ones that really, benefited a lot from it. But with the RPM, over time, you could see that he was making the connections. And it wasn't a miracle. It was a lot of long time work. And then I had given up on having the school do it because already I was just trying to get him home without rug burns on him from school. I had kind of filed due process a few times because of things like that. And but this one teacher came to do a home visit. She was new, and Jeremy was new to the school, the first year of high school. And I showed her things around the house. And then I said, oh, he likes to do this. And I showed the basic steps of RPM because I thought if she's really interested, she could try these basic steps with Jeremy. And if she has a positive response, she might be intrigued to do more. I didn't show her what level he was actually at that point. And she tried. She thought, she was getting responses, and she wanted me to come in and train. So we did. I trained the staff that were working with Jeremy and her, and they started getting Jeremy to the point where they could do assessments with him and realize that all the classes he had been sitting in, that I had insisted on mainstreaming 2 classes a semester when he was in middle school, that he had been listening and learning because every class that he had sat in, he passed the assessments at a normal grade level, and all the classes that he had never been given access to, we'd never taught him, of course he failed. So we immediately understood that he was an auditory learner, and the school, it was never my idea to go for a high school diploma. It was the school that realized Jeremy's potential, and then he kept saying, I want to learn, I want to learn, I want to learn. And so they put him on the academic track, and then, but only 2 classes a semester because I insisted on the functional skills and the work skills as well. And so he graduated at age 21 with a full academic diploma.
And not only that, he spoke at his graduation, something that was covered extensively in the news and was so inspirational to so many people. That
yes, he auditioned. He auditioned because they asked all the seniors at the school to audition if they wanted to give a talk, and he said he wanted to. And this is before iPads. So it was with his little notebook computer, which were much more complicated than they are now. And he gave that speech. And then, we always still wondered, what is he going to do? And we had started some self-employment initiatives at school because the workability person said that my son was not community ready, despite the fact that he had lived in 3 major countries and had been going shopping and to the library and out there ever since he was a little guy. So I just said, well, I think he can do something, and so did the teacher. So we started some little self-initiative projects. What I just found out recently are still in effect today at the local high school.
wow.
That's
So that's
such
really
a great
great.
accomplishment. And Jeremy also co-authored a book about the transition into adulthood.
That's correct.
We should say called A Full Life with Autism, that was put
That's
out by
correct.
Macmillan in 2012.
Well, this one's got I don't know if you can see it. It's got all my tags in it. But it's
Okay.
about the transition to adulthood. And I just want to tell people, I make practically no money on these books. I make like 50 cents for every copy.
We
But
understand.
everyone is so upset with the high school years and transition years that I get these phone calls and these emails and people are all depressed, and I understand. But if you just read, take it out from the library, read some of this, it will give you an idea of what you need to be doing in school. And you know what, if the educators don't know, you can, if you have a good connection with them, you can give them some information, because a lot of them don't realize how there is nothing after high school and transition program. But and the other thing is work. Everyone complains about the work situation, and it is really bad. But I think that as parents, we have to realize that if we want them to be doing something other than wiping the table and sweeping the floor, we need to go out and make those connections in our community with our friends. If we have a small business, we have to hire people. We have to kind of lead the way in that area too. It's, of course the schools have to do stuff, and they should, but I wasn't about to just, get back and depressed thinking, oh, my son's never going to amount to anything. Oh, my son's never going to amount to anything. If I had listened to that, my son would not have amounted to anything. And then 3 years ago, we discovered that he was painting portraits in his dreams. And that this is the thing that Jeremy was 24. So if you think, like I also thought, what is my son going to do? I have no clue. He doesn't have a special skill or a special talent. Well, you never know when it's going to pop up. And anyway, meanwhile, they can always be doing something.
But he does have this special talent, and you have a painting there
Yes.
that you can hold up to show the people
Yes.
at home.
So here.
Look at how beautiful.
How beautiful. His artwork is just magnificent. And you said this didn't surface until what age, Chantal?
3 years ago at age 24.
That
And what
is-
happened is we found out he had synesthesia.
Uh-huh.
And synesthesia is when you have wiring in your brain that's different for your senses. And so a lot of famous musicians have it, and when they play or hear music, they see colors.
Right.
Yes.
And some people see letters and numbers and words in color. And Jeremy did, but I didn't know it. And it's because he was carrying around this book, Born on a Blue Day. Have you heard of that book?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, and it's about this man who has synesthesia. So Jeremy was carrying around this book, and I said, oh, this is about so-and-so, and he has synesthesia. He sees letters and numbers and words like our friend Beth does. And Jeremy spelled out on his letterboard, doesn't everyone? And I said, no, do you? He said, yes. I went, oh my gosh. So I started asking him what the colors were of everything. And then his therapist said to me 3 weeks later, oh, your son sees colors around people. He sees their auras. And I said, I'm from Staten Island. I don't do auras. Thank you very much. So I don't care whether you call it auras or synesthesia, but Jeremy has explained to me that he does read people's emotions as color. And so then about 3 months after that, he woke up with a big smile and he started telling me that he was having dreams at night that he was painting paintings. And he would say something like, oh, Mom, I dreamt I painted the colors of Donna. They were very yellow and bright like her personality. I was like, okay. And every day they were getting bigger and bigger and bigger, these dreams. And one day, about 3 weeks later, he said, Mom, I had a dream that I painted 10 of my paintings and I had my own art show. Could this come true? And I said, well, I'm going to tell you what I tell everyone who says, I have a great idea for a book. Could I get it published? Did you write the darn thing yet? So I said, you have to start painting.
Yes.
So we started painting, with just stuff we had in the house. And then some people around just said, oh, he has great placement. Oh, he is really good with the color. And he just started doing it more and more. And then people started asking him, friends to start painting. And I organized his first art show. It just happened 3 weeks ago.
Really impressive.
And at this art show, a curator stepped up 2 months before and said, oh, I've seen your son's stuff online. I think I'd love to curate his show. He's really a true artist. It's not just about the dreams. In fact, she didn't even want the dreams up with the paintings. And then this PR company had heard about Jeremy, and he had done some things for people because he's often giving these paintings away to people to make them feel better. And they said, oh, we'd love to help you get the word out. Getting the word out means Jeremy ended up on people.com, on national ABC, NBC. The place was packed. We sold everything except one painting. And not only that, he had like 30 commissions that came in, and they're still coming in.
Look at that.
And the important thing is that some people are in it because of their auras and their spirituality, and they think these are, that Jeremy's giving them their colors, which is great. And then other people are real art collectors. Excuse me. There are 2 people down here that I delivered paintings to who bought 5x5 paintings that Jeremy had painted for the show, and they're hanging next to Miro's. Jeremy's paintings are hanging near Miro's in people's homes. That's the caliber of his art.
So Chantal, where can people go if they want to see more of his art and find out more?
jeremysvision.com.
jeremysvision.com. And
without the apostrophe, just okay. JEREMYSVISION.
Fabulous. And we're running out of time, so I want to shift a little bit to you, because clearly you're one of those can-do people. If there's an obstacle in your way, you decide how you're going to get over it, under it, around it. It's not going to stop you. And I think that people want to know more about you, and so where can we go to find your books and find out more about, and I also want you to talk a little bit about Autism College.
Okay, so yes, my website is autismcollege.com, and my books are there, and I also have blogs on there. So there's a lot of information on that website. I also, in fact, I just wrote a blog post today on Psychology Today. So sometimes I don't have time to write on Autism College, but I write on Psychology Today. I also have a Huffington Post column, but I haven't written that in a while. But autismcollege.com has a lot of information. And in the past, I used to do online trainings there on adolescence and on the transition to adulthood. I haven't done any in the last year and a half, but I will be doing some soon because I've been getting so many requests. I just had run out of time. But I think that I found a partner to help me with the technological aspects, so I don't have to worry anymore about actually doing it. Yeah. You know how it is when you work on your own? It's hard because you have to do all the pieces. I'm not a big company, but I did find someone to partner with, and so they'll be handling all the technological aspects, and I'll be able to just do the content.
Great.
Well, Chantal, you do a lot. I gotta say, I'm tired thinking about it, and I'm thinking to myself, how does she have time to do all this? So I appreciate the fact that you admitted that there are things you don't have time to do.
Yeah, I do too, because we all suffer, I think, sometimes as autism moms of, feeling like the clock is ticking and we're not doing enough.
Well, it's funny because I feel bad when I get an email that I can't answer. Yes. So I feel like if I could at least get the videos up there that people could access, because people are less into reading and it's easier sometimes with the video, then I wouldn't feel so bad. So that's why I'm thinking about that. But you're right, I haven't done any in a year and a half, and I don't feel bad about it, really.
Good.
But I do feel bad about people who don't have access to inexpensive information that can help them, that's practical.
Right. Well, you do that, we do that, we all do that.
Yes,
hopefully they can find information.
And we'll send them your way. And I know I'm going to check all these things out because Wyatt's 14 and making the transition to high school, and adjusting to that, and Wyatt is an artist as well. So hopefully he'll be following in Jeremy's footsteps and having success with his art.
It's all about the marketing, guys.
Get it.
Love that.
Yeah. Okay.
Love
Great.
that.
All right. So.
Well, you're amazing. We thank you so much. We hope that Jeremy feels better and that you
Yes.
guys will come back again sometime
Thank
with both of you. And if you ever want in the LA area, you want to come and be in the studio, we'd love to have you.
That sounds great. Thank you for all that you do, because this is really wonderful that people can access this from their homes.
Well, we
Thank you,
likewise,
Chantal.
we
Have a
appreciate
great,
you.
great day.